mamas, Alexandria here, 34-year-old toddler mom, therapist, and gym rat. I lost nearly 40 pounds postpartum and it changed my life. So my goal is to help others transform their lives by sharing the tips and secrets I learned all along the way. And today we're going to talk about surviving the holidays because believe it or not, the holiday season is right around the corner and that can be pretty terrifying if you are in the middle of a health and wellness weight loss journey. So today I'm going to share some tips with you about how we can keep on track with our goals in a practical way. So if you are ready, let's do it. So, the holidays. They're practically here. It's practically here. Sorry. The holidays are right around the corner, y'all. And I'm not just talking about like Christmas. I mean, Halloween, you're going to blink and Halloween is going to be here. I'm hoping this video will go up before Halloween, but we'll just have to see how the schedule plays out. But I mean, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Kwanzaa, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of holidays in there. But all of these holidays are around the idea of food and celebration. And if you're someone who is in the midst of a weight loss journey or in the midst of some sort of like health and wellness journey, the holidays can feel like a really intimidating time, mostly because of the constant pressure, right? There's food and stuff everywhere. We are in the midst of pumpkin spice season. There's pumpkin spice everywhere. Like everything is pumpkin spice flavored. Now, not everything that is pumpkin spice is good or created equal. Let's be very clear on that. And some of y'all are like, no, girl, I don't do the pumpkin spice thing, which is totally fine. I am as basic as they come, and I enjoy most things pumpkin spice. I will not say all things pumpkin spice, but I do enjoy most things pumpkin spice. And so we're in the midst of that. And then there will be Thanksgiving and lots of food, and then, Christmas or, whatever sort of other holiday that you celebrate. Again, more food, more desserts, all the things. And so it can feel very intimidating to be surrounded by all of that stuff when you're trying to lose weight or when you're trying to live in a certain healthier lifestyle. So let's talk about some strategies that we can use in a practical way to make it seem possible. Because I promise you, there is a way to survive the holiday season. And for some of you, you may be like, listen, let's just start at the new year. I know that's a big push for a lot of people, but you certainly don't have to start at the new year. You can, but you certainly don't have to. So let's talk about holiday gatherings for a minute. One of the things that you can actually do as a strategy, and this was something that was relatively new to me, but you can actually bank calories in advance. You can bank calories on the back end too, if that's a preference for you, but I think when I think about it, I think it makes sense to bank on the front end so you kind of know what your gauge is, rather than having to make up for it on the back end. That can feel restrictive and not fun. So I like to think of it in terms of like, I'm going to bank a couple of hundred calories over about 48 hours in advance of the meal. Let's say Thanksgiving. We'll use that as an example, but it can be whatever, meal you want to make it. And you bank, let's say 250 calories one day and 250 calories another day. And so there you go. You've got 500 banked calories that you can reallocate to your meal, your special meal. And if you're thinking about calories, like I talked about in a recent video, in terms of a week, that makes more sense if you're working into a weekly calorie budget than if you're someone who is living in like a daily calorie budget. You can do it either way. You're kind of splitting hairs. But the moral of the story is if you're banking calories on the front end, then you don't have to feel so restricted going into that meal. And, you should be able to enjoy the time with your family and not be having to worry about like, oh no, I'm going to be like 600 calories over budget or 800, whatever, right? You don't want to have to worry about that going into it. So you can bank some of those calories on the front end of your meal so that so it sort of mentally takes the pressure off. The other thing that you can do in the context of meals is to prioritize the protein in the meals, right? If this is like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas or whatever, these are just the holidays I celebrate. I'm certainly not trying to discriminate against any holidays. Let me be clear. But if you celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas and maybe you're having ham or turkey or something, prioritize the meats and veggies of that meal or the protein sources and the veggies of that meal first. And then, of course, get some helpings of some potato, some sweet potato, some dessert, whatever it is that you want. Just focus the bulk of your eating on the protein sources and the veggie sources. Protein first, then veggies. And that way you won't feel as hungry and snacky and feel like you need to grab like 2 pieces of cake instead of just one. Or you won't feel like you need 2 plates of potatoes. You just need like part of a plate of potatoes. I know I like potatoes a lot. Like I really like potatoes. But I also don't need like an entire plate's worth of potatoes. You know what I mean? Like from a nutritional standpoint. So keep that in mind. If you are, when you're thinking about how you're going to portion your plate, prioritizing the protein and then the veggies will help to give you a more, make you A, feel more satisfied, and B, is a better use, of a sense, of your calories in terms of keeping you full for longer and making it easier to not portion out so much of some of the other foods because you won't be as hungry. You won't. Another thing is on those big meal days, eat breakfast. Don't skip breakfast. I know one of the things that I used to do, particularly when I was younger, is I would just get so busy in the morning that I would forget to eat breakfast. And then by the time I got to whatever that meal was, usually it's sometime in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, I'm starving and I want to eat everything in sight. So eat breakfast first. Allow yourself a nice high protein breakfast in the morning so that you're not acting like you have been like living through some sort of crisis by the time you get to lunch or dinner or whatever and you're like absolutely starving. You'll be hangry for one, which really sucks. You'll probably have a headache and you'll want to eat everything in sight. So eat breakfast first and in the morning so that you don't just have to live off of whatever the meal is that you're eating with the family or that you're using to celebrate. The other piece of this is to remind yourself that this holiday is supposed to be fun, and if you're getting yourself like bogged down and stressed out about like how many calories you're intaking and all that sort of stuff, you lose sight of the holiday. So don't get yourself stuck in this all or none mindset where you have to do this or you failed or, if I don't eat in the right calories for today or, get my macros right for today, then I'm a failure or things like that. Holidays are supposed to be enjoyable, and the priority should be time and enjoyment with your friends and family and loved ones. And so if this is getting in the way, remind yourself that, if things don't go as you had planned for them to go, or they don't turn out the way that you had hoped, or Aunt Susie's pie is just too good and you need another slice. Like, it's okay. It's okay to live your life. Listen, balance is key, even during the holidays. Don't deprive yourself from the things that you enjoy because you're worried about X number of calories. Just because it happened that day doesn't mean that you can't make different choices tomorrow or the next day or whatever that case may be. If for some reason it doesn't go the way that you'd hoped it would go, don't beat yourself up about it. When we beat ourselves up about it or we get into the all or none mindset, that's how we end up losing ourselves in this and end up feeling like we can't have or do the things that we want to do. And then we give up and we quit. And so I don't want that for you, and I hope you don't want that for yourself. So remember that balance is key here, and give yourself the grace to say like, hey, like I ate 2 pieces of pie. Okay, I ate 2 pieces of pie. Now, so the last 2 things are more related to like just the holiday season in general rather than just the big gatherings. But I think it's important to remember that like if you feel really tempted by stuff, you're not obligated to keep it around the house. And like let's take Halloween for example because it's right around the corner here, right? Like as a general rule, I don't keep a ton of candy in the house before Halloween and then I try to get rid of it after. Not because, I've learned self-control and willpower now, but it's just easier for me not to have to worry about it if it's not in the house to tempt me, right? There's no reason I need to tempt fate. And that stuff will be around again. If it's something that you really want, if you really like pumpkin spice things, right? Go to the store, pick you up a couple of different things, maybe like 1 or 2 things to have on hand, but you don't need to buy out the store and all things pumpkin spice. I'll have to see if I can find a picture. But my husband and I used to go like ham for pumpkin spice. And we would buy like all the pumpkin spice things. We don't do that anymore. We buy like a couple of things. And then we eat them on occasion when we work them in. Does that make sense? And so if you're one of those people that if it's right there, you're going to eat it, then don't keep it in the house or keep it in sort of a special section where it's sort of out of sight, out of mind, as opposed to right there smacking you in the face every time you open the fridge. And the last thing is make some swaps. You're not obligated to settle for the status quo of what's being offered. This is particularly true if you're going to a restaurant or things like that. You know, we are in the day and age of app ordering and customization. So if you don't like the way a sandwich is prepared from a calorie perspective or a protein perspective, you know, within reason, you can make changes and switch things out so that you're better able to meet some protein targets. Or if you're cutting down on sugar, you can improve the level of sugar. Starbucks is a great example of this, right? Like, you can decide what kind of milk you want, if you want foam, if you want whipped cream, you know, all of those sort of things. You can go in and you can customize it. And you can do that at a lot of places now for food and see how it fits into your budget best, so that you're not having to be restricted in the things that you're eating. If you're trying to scratch the itch for, you know, a Starbucks, just make some swaps within your order so you're getting most of the same thing. You're getting the sensation of it without all of the calories associated with it, and it doesn't impact your nutrition in a negative way. And again, as a reminder, the holidays are supposed to be fun. So please don't allow whatever these mental barriers that you have to derail you from that. You're only going to get so many holidays with your friends and with your family, and prioritizing and enjoying that time should be the most important to you. So keep that in mind as you go. I know you can do this. You're doing a great job, okay? You're going to rock it. And if you have enjoyed this video, YouTube should be recommending something else to you somewhere on the screen that they think you will enjoy, and I hope you'll enjoy too. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.